This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Welcome back onto the Research Talks here from Stockbox with Alan Greens. Alan, how are you doing at the end of yet another week? Busy week for me anyway.
It's been another busy week, Mark, hasn't it? It really has. Yes, I've been enjoying it though. I've been watching the Isle of Man TT races this week.
Yes.
The Catch Up on Channel 4, which has been absolutely fantastic. And Michael Dunlop, I suppose nephew of Joey Dunlop, the very famous TT racer. Joey has the all-time winning record of 26 TTs, and Michael Dunlop equaled that on at last weekend. And then this week he went one better, and he now holds the all-time record, 27 TT wins, which
right,
considering the lap record on a country road is now 136 miles an hour average speed. Just let that sink in. It is an astonishing spectacle, and it's an amazing race. And I've been lucky enough to go 3 times, and hoping to get there again at some stage in the future. But fantastic achievement by Michael Dunlop. And the accolades are well deserved.
Yeah, I know you're big into your bikes. I did see a clip pop up on Twitter. I don't know, I can't remember the name of the rider, but it was obviously a famous one. But there's something was wrong with his helmet, I think.
That was Michael Dunlop.
That was Michael Dunlop. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He was all set to win a race on Monday, but they have pit stop. It's a 6-lap race, so they have to go in and change the rear tire and fill up, and also change the visor after 2 laps. So there are 2 pit stops on a 6-lap race. He came in on the 4th lap, left the pits, and the guy that was supposed to clip the visor onto his helmet didn't clip it in properly, and it's just a ratchet engagement. And of course, he left the pits. The visor started flapping. He had to pull over. So there's a clip has gone viral of him by the side of the road. Idiots! Oh goodness, But he's very calm. He resets the visor, puts the visor back down, and then off he goes, and still gets 4th place.
Right.
Which was astonishing, really astonishing.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for that, Alan. I had seen that clip, and thank you for putting some context around it for someone who's not a big follower of the motorsport. But today we're obviously here to talk about stocks, not motorbikes, and to start us off, Rome Resources, who is a new one. We've never spoken about Rome before. From what I understand, it's a tin play in the DRC, which immediately I sort of think, oh, okay, tin and DRC. So I'm interested to hear what you think of Rome Resources. I know they are RTOing / IPOing, but they're RTOing into a vehicle in the next few weeks. So if we can get a bit of an introduction to Rome Resources, that would be quite interesting. So over to you to start us off with Rome Resources.
Well, tin is an essential metal. As Rome say on the website, it puts the T into technology. It's an essential metal to modern electronics. And of course, clean technology, electronics govern everything nowadays. And tin is used extensively in solder, and solder is effectively the glue or the metal that glues the technology revolution together. It's we have the printed circuit boards, and the printed circuit boards contain solder, which contains tin. But also it has a multitude of other applications too. So tin's used in lithium-ion batteries. It's used on solar panels. It's also used extensively across the hydrogen economy, and also in the carbon capture industry too. But supply, of course, as you'd expect, China is the world's biggest producer, China and Indonesia, but also, as China, in a sense, attempts to hold the world to ransom economically here and there, there have been cuts in production and delays in exports. So of course, the search for supplies continues. And what is interesting about Rome is that Rome Resources have a long-established base in the DRC. They've been operating there as a team, in fact, for the last 24 years. There's a company that some of the management team have worked with called Alpha Men. Alpha Men is regarded as one of the world's highest grade tin resources. The share price of that company is up 177%. Really, well, this is actually from the Rome website. So it's going to be it's a market that will only increase in its importance, and of course, it's all about supply. So what Rome have identified is the Bisey North Tin project. Now, this is close to the Alpha Men Tin project. It's a few kilometers down the road. 4.5% average grade of tin is produced in the DRC versus an average grade of just 0.5%. And I think what you've got to consider here are the production costs. So production costs of tin are high. Now, tin sells for $40,000 to $50,000 per ton in the marketplace. If there's a supply squeeze, that price, as we've seen with copper, of course, could rocket and go to in excess of $80,000 a ton. But production costs are relatively high, but in the DRC they're low at about $12,000 per ton. Other sort of hubs of production. There's a production hub in Peru, for instance, where it costs some $16,000 a ton to extract there. But then if you go to places like Australia and other parts of the world, you're looking at $25,000, $30,000 a ton. So as you can imagine, it doesn't take much of a swing in the price all of a sudden for the cost of production to make a project simply uneconomical. But with the DRC, where you've got production costs at $12,000 per ton, for the foreseeable future, if we're selling at $40,000 to $50,000 a ton, there's a good strong margin there. And you know the demand going forward is only set to double or perhaps even treble.
Okay.
And I think perhaps the DRC has been maligned in terms of its stability as a regime. There are world-class zinc, copper, and gold projects that surround the Bisey North Tin project. And what's important is that the management team, including Mark Gasson, know and understand how to operate in the DRC. They've been there for many, many years. And I think what the team have done to date is they are explorers. They've developed and brought the project on to a point where they have established soil anomalies. They've also done some drilling, and they plan next month to start drilling out a reserve and a resource. And what I liked about this company is that I think you alluded to it just now. They explore, they drill, they establish the resource, then they bring in a team to develop it, and then they move on to the next one. And that's, I think, the famous that Clint Eastwood once said in the film, "A man's got to know his limitations." And I think these guys know the limitations. They know where their expertise lies. They're good explorers, so they're going to establish this and then move on and bring other projects into the fold. In order to do that, the company are reversing into Pathfinder Minerals, which is a cash shell on AIM. They're raising 4 million quid, and they've been in London already to meet with brokers and banks to raise that money. The company is set to list on the or relist on the AIM market in July. So it's literally a few weeks away as we speak, but they're going to literally hit the ground running. The drilling is going to take place straight away. So on the board, I mentioned Mark Gasson. Mark Gasson, of course, is chief exec at Rome Resources, but he's also on the board of Pathfinder Minerals too, which is the cash shell. Paul Barrett is the chief exec at Pathfinder Minerals. He will be coming in. Well, I mentioned Klaus Eckhoff already. And of course, the company is going to bring the drill program on straight away. So we should have results from this fairly early on. So I think this is a company that knows exactly what it's going to do. It's taking advantage of the this huge market in tin. In fact, there's a very telling chart on the Rome Resources share price, which shows just how far the tin price has come, and I think we're going to see the price push on to much higher levels as the year progresses. And Rome Resources, I think, are relisting at just the right time. So a good opportunity, to get into in pre-IPO. Speak to your broker, see what the opportunity is if your broker's engaged with the pre-IPO raise. And I'm not sure whether there are any warrants that come with the raise, but of course that could be attractive to investors if they are currently on the table. But yeah, Rome Resource.
Okay, yeah, well, it's nice to get an introduction to this new company. I mean, you said there about the DRC, Alan, because that often sort of sounds alarm bells with investors, doesn't it? Because it sort of has a negative connotation, that jurisdiction. But you say that this management team have got a lot of experience operating in the DRC already.
Yep, they've been there for the last 24 years. So
Okay.
So that means they understand the infrastructure, they understand the government workings, the workings of local government too. So of course they will be working with those people to ensure that everything gets rubber stamped and things can get done quickly. And I think problems tend to occur where you get somebody moving into a jurisdiction for the first time and trying to lay the law down. These guys are consultants. They're well established. They operate in the area, and they're well known and respected by the team. And you don't operate in an area like the DRC for 24 years successfully, without knowing an awful lot of people. So I think what's attractive about this, it's a plug and play solution, and I think the team are going to do a great job when they hit the ground running. And my hope is that, and certainly the initial impressions I've had from looking at what Rome are doing, is that this team are going to under-promise and over-deliver, and that's what I like to see in a mining company.
Okay.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.
And it has a huge resource located just 8 kilometers from the Baisi North project. And what I think is particularly telling is that the Baisi North project shows the same geological structure, the same anomalies, and they're discovering through the soil work they've done and the initial drill work, they're discovering the great grades, or the grades that are identical to those at Alpha Men. So rather than going in and just saying, oh, we've got this project, we're going to fund in and drill and hopefully find stuff, they know it's there already. So what they're going to do is go in, do the drilling, and prove up the resource that they know that's there. They've already done the groundwork. They've already established it. So it's exciting because I think the company's going to list. It's going to come to market. They're going to raise £4 million to fund the drilling, and I think we're going to see a very early result in comparison to some companies where the drilling takes place and you hear about the results 6 to 7 months later.
Okay. Well, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Alan. That's an interesting company to be introduced to there. I'm going to see if I can have a chat with them perhaps next week or something to get more of an understanding of what it is they're actually doing and what their plans are post coming onto the market there. But yeah, tin in the DRC. Well, yeah, if they've got experience and that Alpha Min that you say is next door, if they're involved in that, then yeah, let's see. Maybe they can almost repeat what they did there. But I'll have a chat with if I can have a chat with one of the management next week and getting more of an idea of what's going on. But thank you for introducing Rome Resources to us today. So we're going to take Fulcrum next. Of course, we talked about Fulcrum before, but they had quite significant news this week as well. Much awaited sampling from extract, looking what they as they hoped for, really.
Indeed, it's been a hell of a year for Fulcrum. I mean, they IPO'd, of course, Q1 2023, raised £3 million initially, And with a bunch of projects, they came to market. Of course, Panther Metals holding 20%. They've now sold some of their shares because of the success of the company over the past year. Ryan Mee, the chief executive, of course, you interview him regularly. Marker, I interviewed him for Stockbox a few months ago. Aidan O'Hara, co-founder and corporate development, and a team that really have put together a great package of assets. They have, of course, the Big Bear project and Jackfish projects in Ontario, but Ryan and the team chose to take the company in a different direction, rather than just have a focus as a mining exploration company. They've looked at, well, how can we find projects that generate cash for us so we can actually fund our own development, fund our own fund our own exploration, and so on. And they took the first step forward. They acquired the Tully Gold project last year. And then, of course, at the end of the year, they acquired the Tech Hughes tailings project, which had historically produced some 3.7 million ounces of gold. This, of course, is in Ontario in Canada, with an option to acquire 100% of the assets. And the Tech Hughes has an approximate estimate of 138,400 ounces of contained gold. The company also struck an agreement with a company called Extract, which have a revolutionary process of extracting the minerals using flotation and liquid techniques, and it's a revolutionary process, and something that Fulcrum will have the license going forward to become really an agent for the group. And they may, I don't know, Ryan and the team may well take it in house. Who knows? But either way, they're progressing the process of dealing with these tailing projects and developing them through, so they can actually extract the value from the projects, and improve on the historical results that previous contractors have secured. So with the Tech Hughes asset, the company announced, of course, in May this year that they had completed an initial sampling process across 6 locations around the site. They had composite samples averaging 0.71 grams per ton, and then they, using the extract technique, they had improved that to 0.723 grams per ton. But what's important is that the overall result was nearly 17% higher than historical extraction techniques from the tailings. They have a second batch test, or they sent off a second batch test to complete the sampling from Tech Hughes, and of course that then continues up to this week, where the company announced the definitive results from that, and they established that the extract technology had delivered 59.4% gold recovery rates from the tailings, proportionate mixed composite sample grading of 0.723 grams per ton gold across all 6 sites, which is hugely significant. And they're aiming to improve on that. They believe they can improve recovery rates to over 60%. This is compared to the older techniques, which are refractory gold recovery, and those the percentage of gold recovered using that technique is around the 40% mark. And as Ryan Mee said, with the announcement, it provides a compelling pathway and business model to take the company forward. And of course, this is just the first step along this road for the company. What Fulcrum have been doing throughout the process, they've looked to extract value from their other projects. And of course, in April, they signed an agreement with CNSX listed Terra Balcanica Resources, selling its options of selling options in its uranium projects. That's the Charlotte, Neely, Fontaine Lake, Snowbird, and South Pendleton uranium projects. And in exchange for 4 years of exploration, where the company has to, or Terra Balcanica will have to spend some 3.2 million Canadian dollars. Fulcrum will receive back 300,000 Canadian dollars cash, and also $3 million in Terra Balcanica shares. So, this is a big step forward for the company. Also in April, the company announced the acquisition of its second gold tailings project, which of course is the Silverknight Gold Tailings Project, Kirkland Lake, Ontario. Now, this is sited just 3 kilometers from the Tech Hughes project. So the aim, Ryan and his team are aiming to set up a hub so they can develop these gold tailings projects simultaneously, a production hub so they can produce the gold, sell the gold. The tailings reserve here is an estimated 67,000 ounces of gold, so not quite as big as Tech Hughes, but the team said at the time that utilizing gravity grinding and the flotation method, i.e. the extract method, could boost gold recovery rates from that from the tailings to 70%. This is really a hugely important step for the group, because I know they're looking at other opportunities to develop other tailings projects, perhaps to buy into other tailings projects, and also go in there with the extraction technique as well. We then had the final results from the group. The company ended December 31st December with 621,000 cash at the bank. So the company has sufficient cash to keep going for the foreseeable future, but also very significant for the company as well. I think as the operational scope of the business expands, you need to bring other people in. So in March, of course, the company brought Jason Brewer in as a strategic advisor to the group. Jason, of course, may hold a board role at some stage going forward, but certainly with Jason on board, I think they've got a very strong advisor. Of course, Jason's connections with other mining investors and the opportunities I think he brings to fast track and expand the tailings business model. I think it just adds a very exciting element to Fulcrum Metals. That I don't think has been reflected in the share price. I mean, we're seeing shares currently trade at 14.7p, so close the week out of that, which gives Fulcrum a market cap of just 7.3 million, which is pretty derisory considering the range of assets it has, and also, of course, the deal it's done with Terra Balcanica Resources. Incidentally, with that Terra Balcanica letter of intent, the company has extended the closing date on that to June the 15th. So next week we should have an announcement for the company that's a done deal, and I think that's going to be very important and certainly should give the share price a lift from that point. Certainly when the initial agreement was announced, the share price poked up nicely. So I think we're going to see. I think we should see a significant recovery in the share price once they're able to confirm that. But a really exciting year in prospect from Ryan and the team, and I personally am looking forward to hearing about the next gold tailings project that they can add to the portfolio.
Well, yes, indeed. I just think it's just not seen at the moment. Maybe it's not believed yet until it actually happens. Of course, if it does get to that point, it will be too late. Never too late, but you'd have missed out on quite a lot of the gains from potential gains from getting in now, when it's really not talked about, not loved. I just don't think the potential is seen there. But all you've got to do is really watch some of the interviews that have been done with Ryan. You can tell the kind of excitement, almost quiet excitement of what they've got going there. And this is what we were waiting for. This is the announcement that technology is working at the Tech Hughes. They've got the Silver Knight ones that are due as well, which should come in better. And obviously refining the Tech Hughes ones as well to try and get those recoveries a bit higher. But yes, at 59, was it 59.8? I can't remember, 59.7, circa 60% recovery is
60%.
From tailings is fantastic. There's like, what was it? There's millions worth. There's 200,000 ounces of gold estimated across these two projects. So times that by the gold price today, which is just under 2,300. There'll be some obviously some costs involved as well, obviously, but to get sort of a value of what's in there that is recoverable, you can quite quickly do some maths. And like I say, it looks like this technology is doing what is expected. So it's only a matter of time, I think, until it's picked up. Maybe they've got to actually get going, get further down the phases. Maybe they've actually got to get recovering gold and selling it before the market will wake up. But Fulcrum could really go around locking up all these tailings projects around Ontario and just become a tailings reprocessing business and making money and making it safer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I mean, just the point I made with the refraction gold or the refractory gold recovery technique, recovery rates using that technique of 40%. So using extract, they've added a further 20% onto that, which is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, in gold recovery. So you take that process and then you take it to another project, and you multiply that out many times. And I think that's where Jason Brewer comes in. Jason will have seen the potential there. He'll know so many people, as obviously Quinton van der Berg will have a multitude of contacts. So I think there's a real opportunity here to massively scale this up and also do so at a real rate of knots, because you prove up something like this, you've got those proven results from Tech Hughes. I think the market's really missed this, and I think I certainly think Fulcrum offers great opportunity right now, and I do expect to hear news of further project acquisitions in the coming months.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alan, for just bringing us up to speed on Fulcrum. I'm hoping to speak to Ryan next week. I know we interviewed Jason because Ryan, unfortunately, was waylaid in Canada. Presumably on lots of interesting business there with extracts. So I'm hoping to catch up with him next week and get his reaction to these initial results. But for now, that's good on Fulcrum. Let's finish off with Truspine then, Alan. And I know we've covered them before, but what's the latest going on with Truspine?
Well, it's a real sea change in the company. If you look at the chart, the share price chart of the company, you'll see really up to March this year, the shares were trading between 0.5p and a penny, not doing a great deal. And then all of a sudden, you can see, share price volume started to improve and the share price rose from 0.5p to a penny. And it's now at 3.25p, and with good reason. I interviewed the chairman, Jeff Miller, yesterday, and that's I would urge investors to watch that interview, because I think it gives a very clear, or Jeff gives a very clear and candid account of the evolution of Truspine, the troubles it's gone through over the past year, and what the changes they have made with the business will bring going forward. So Truspine has proprietary technology, IP, which is in the spinal stabilization market. It has 3 products: Servilock, Facilock, and also grasp laminoplasty, which are revolutionary techniques to straighten the spine, create spinal stability, ease pressure on nerves, and all the rest of it. And the product is recognized worldwide. It was invented by Frank Bohm, the IP inventor, and the troubles that came to the company over the past year have principally arisen from the battle with shareholders and supporters of Frank, the inventor, in the US versus what the incumbent management team at the time were trying to do here. That's now finished. Jeff Miller came into the business. He came in as chairman, the chief executive, Lawrence Strauss, then resigned. And Jeff also brought with him Sam Ogunsalu, who has a med tech background. Sam has taken charge of the commercial and technical side of developing the three products going forward. Whereas Jeff has come in as chairman, and at the AGM yesterday, all of the resolutions to make the changes in the business were passed, and Jeff has taken on some of the responsibilities as CEO. But the most important thing they've done, and that's really changed everything, is they have realigned themselves with Frank Boehm. Jeff has reached out to Frank, and they have an agreement going forward. Frank is taking an active role in helping to develop the business and to cooperate and develop the IP. Truspine absolutely owns the IP outright. It's a very resilient IP portfolio. And of course, with Frank's involvement now with the company, that's really changed the outlook for the business. And that it has, I think, in some way been reflected in the sharp rise in the share price over the past few weeks. What the company will be doing forward, it will be working with several strategic partners. Firstly, distributors and manufacturers around the world, looking at how best to commercialize Servilock, Facilock, and grasp laminoplasty. And then second, the company will be looking to work with manufacturers who have complementary products, so they can value share through collaboration. And this is going to be key to develop and evolve the business. Jeff also, it's important to understand his role and what he brings to the table. He's got 30 years of experience in life sciences and medtech and investing, and he's worked with many regulators. And unlike the previously, where the company was updating on process with the FDA application for Servilock, the application went in July last year. But Jeff has said nothing upsets regulators more than companies claiming that the IP application is progressing and not the IP, the FDA application is progressing. That if anything has the opposite effect. So Jeff has said from here on in they won't provide a running commentary on FDA approval. All they will say is they are hoping for a decision in the near future, and they're doing everything they can to assist the FDA. Then there were some issues with shareholders, because I think the shareholding structure in the company wasn't too well understood. A gentleman by the name of Barry Saunders, who provided a loan to the company, and that loan was secured by a charge over the assets. That loan was exchanged for a convertible loan at 0.7p, and that's been exercised. And of course, Barry Saunders now owns 10% of the company. That's a handsome gain on 0.7p from to 3.25p. Jeff, of course, bought shares in the open market at around the same level. He owns 7% of the company. And when the convertible loan he's provided to the company, he's invested $340,000 himself over the past year. When the convertible loan converts, he will own just over 10% as well. And he's averaged in overall at 1.6p. So he's been buying in the open market too, which I think that indicates that he's very keen to have skin in the game. And when the chairman himself buys in at 1.6p, there's great value there. Also, Oberon own around 11% of the company too. So that really is that really summarizes the major shareholder structure. There's also other shareholders include Vela Technologies. Of course, we know Vela Technologies. We've spoken about them before. Vela own about 4% of the company. So, in summary, the company going forward are going to operate using very robust corporate governance. Victoria Senna also came in as non-exec director. She's going to be the senior non-exec. She's going to be leading the other non-execs, which include Nick Patel and Dr. Tim Evans. They won't be expanding the board at present, but Jeff was at pains to point out that the important thing going forward is the future of Truspine is not dependent on the FDA outcome. They're going to evolve other products It's going to be an evolutionary story, and it's going to be about building a series of strategic partnerships. And we're going to hear a lot more about that, and many more announcements in that regard from the company in the coming months. So, in summary, we've seen great progress from the company already. Shares, as I say, from 0.5p low, we're now at that high of 3.25p. But it's got a market cap of just 4.5 million in a multi-billion-dollar marketplace. And I think this company is still right at the start of that evolutionary curve. And I expect to see much more progress in the coming months.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, as always, Alan, for giving us the investment case there for Truspine, Fulcrum Metals, and, of course, introducing us to Rome Resources. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll speak in a week's time.
Have a great weekend, Mark.